What's up, Foodie fam? Welcome to my podcast. What the fuck? AKA, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? What's up, Foodie fam? And welcome back to W.T.F, aka, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? The Foodie podcast that's talking all about finding random shit in your cupboards, in your fridge, in your house or whatever, in your mom's house, wherever you find it, and figuring out what the fuck you can do with that. Our point, the goal, is for you to walk away knowing that you can take some sazon, some paprika, or some oregano, some salt and pepper, and you can throw that shit into a dish with some fucking Cheerios and make something out of it. I'm not talking about Cheerios specifically. I don't know what the fuck I would do with Cheerios. But we're looking for things that are already in the house and trying to make elevated dishes. So not just a pot of spaghetti or some fettuccine, but something a little bit more Olive Garden basic. As a reminder, we'll be talking about a bunch of shit. We're going to have a topic of discussion this week. We're going to talk about what we're obsessed with. We're going to talk about that featured item that I'm probably just going to pull out of the cupboard as we're talking. And then maybe even a recipe of the day. Shout out to our network, HausHill Media.
It's only entertainment.
Download the app if you haven't so that you can actually get this every week on Thursdays, just like any other podcast. And subscribe to everything. Just everything. You don't want to miss out on this foodie journey. So, we're second episode in again. But yeah, so we're at it again, second week, second episode. Let me know what you guys thought about the last one. Like I said, I left my email in the last one. I will send it again here, or you can comment in this space. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to throw out some topics or something like that. I have a bunch of things to talk about. And like I said, I'm so passionate about food. But I'm more than happy to talk about it with everyone else. I'm looking forward to having some guests on so that we can have a little rapport, maybe get some different opinions, and we can do some Q&A real time. But always happy to have you guys send me questions so I can answer them also on the air. This week, we're going to be talking about cooking in the time of Rona. I think there's a movie like Love in the Time of Cholera or something like that. I think Keira Knightley was in it. I actually never saw the movie, but I thought the play on words was cute, right? It worked out. But cooking in the time of Rona, specifically because we're in the time of Rona. We literally are still in Corona. COVID-19 is out there, and unfortunately, it is literally a damaging disease, pandemic that is taking the lives of a lot of people that we are all probably reeling from. So my condolences to anyone who's had to deal with this. But hopefully you can come away with this as from this podcast or this episode with maybe some enlightenment on food, how to protect yourself in certain kind of ways when cooking, and actually just, taking a little bit of, adding a little bit of levity to what is a dark time. So coronavirus is not a joke. It has had us all stuck in the house, and we've all fucking missed everything. Going out to eat. I can't tell you, one of the reasons that I moved to New York was for the food. Just delicious fucking food. There's so many great restaurants here. And again, like I said in the last week's episode, I love Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and I truly think the food there is amazing. But there's great places here in New York. Let me tell you about one. One of my favorite cuisines of all time is Italian food. I love it. The savory, the juiciness, the freshness of it. It's just so amazing. And I found a place, I think it's called Cotenna, and it's in West Village. And it took me so long to find this place. And let me tell you fucking why. Because I went on a date. And then when I went on that date, the guy took me to this motherfucking place. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a gay cook. But I went on this date. The guy took me to this fucking place, and it was amazing. Loved it. Loved the wine, loved the food, loved the vibe. It was a tiny little place, and apparently the owners have maybe 3 or 4. And then, 3 or 4 little spots like that, and they're all like right around the corner from each other. And I think it's mainly because real estate in West Village especially is pretty pricey, so you don't get a lot of space. So these are all little hole in the walls, which makes it like a little bit more sexy. The vibe is nice. So go to this place, have a great time, never see the guy again, or don't really talk to the guy again. And then we're following each other on Instagram, and I have a craving for this probably about a year later. So I asked for the name of the restaurant. Does not want to tell me. Does not want to tell me this specific. I'm sorry, specifically because I didn't want to continue dating. But does not want to fucking tell me. So fast forward another year, maybe two. I'm literally walking around West Village trying to find it. Just like in the broad daylight on a Saturday, just walking around the West Village looking for this particular restaurant. It took me a couple tries or times doing that, but eventually I found it. And it was great. And I've been back several times. And I love the food every time. And during Rona, I actually ended up going for the first time, like I want to say maybe a month or two ago, or at the time of the air of this, probably like 2 months ago, to dine outside. And it was such a treat to be able to go back to that place because I love it so much. The food is great. The customer service. I have nothing but good things to say about Cotina, West Village, New York. But that said, we don't get to have that all the time. The weather is not always great to be outside and dine. Even though they started to open up dining in New York, it is still only at 25%. So who knows when we'll be able to go out and actually make sure that we're able to get something that we want. So the point of this episode, now that I'm done rambling about Italian food in the village, is to talk about how you cook in the time of Rona. So there's a ton of recipes on my website, ginroecooks.com. And that's GINROE cooks.com. And then there's a lot of books on the internet that you can actually pick up, ebooks or hard books that you can pick up to actually follow recipes. Mine will be coming soon, just so keep that in thought. But I think that it's important to talk about the benefits of cooking in the time of Rona. One big benefit that I found is just honing my craft. Again, I cook every day. And so for me, it's always easy to pick up something, whip something together, throw some rice in it, and make a meal. But it's really challenged me to actually think about what I'm doing every day of the week, specifically because you get bored eating the same thing over and over. So I did learn a lot about, getting new stuff from the grocery store or things that are in season and just trying to make something new out of that. And then also taking older recipes and actually getting to a place of maybe tweaking them a bit, adding a few things or taking away some things and testing it out. Now for me and Bay. So at least I have a taste tester. And then I do have friends who come over and whatnot because as things got a bit easier during the coronavirus pandemic, and they start to lift some restrictions, and we were all fucking craving attention and craving some socialization. I did start to open up and cook a couple different meals and just maybe cook to create some content for my IG. Again, at Gin Roe Cooks is the IG. Go check it out and look at it. Let me know what you think about some of those pictures. I like to play around with different kind of like layouts and stuff like that and pictures in the pictures for the IG. So let me know what you think. But yeah, like I said, there's a benefit to this being in this pandemic. We definitely get to learn a lot of new things about ourselves, our cooking styles, the foods we love, the foods we're tired of, and the foods we're obsessed with this week. Let me know if anything like good happened for you food wise in terms of the pandemic or coronavirus. Now we move on to the bad about cooking during the time of Rona. Obviously, it's going to the grocery store. So every time you go out, you risk getting sick. I'm a busybody, so I literally was at the grocery store every day. So I had to make sure I was taking care of like sanitizing, washing my hands, making sure that I was, cleaning everything. And even in the grocery stores, making sure those items weren't like dirty or anything like that. Overall, just had to make sure that everything was safe and secure. And that was a little bit nerve wracking because we didn't know what was going to happen. We still don't know how we're going to fight this virus other than, just taking precautions, wearing your mask and stuff like that. So even now I go out to eat, especially in outdoor spaces. And I just recently went out to eat indoors at a place, and it was pretty chill, pretty safe. Everybody was pretty much socially distancing and doing their things. But I still prefer to cook at home, mainly because I prefer my food. I just love my own fucking food. I think that I can. It's probably because I can adjust and blend the flavors as I need to, as opposed to like insulting the chef at a restaurant by saying like, "Can I get a bit more salt?" And yes, I've had to do that more than once. But like I said, cooking in a time of Rona, there was good things and there were bad things. Overall, what I took away from this was I got a chance to hone my craft, right? I got a chance to really think about the food and explore new different things. And as the seasons have changed, because we have been in this bitch for what, 3 seasons now, spring, summer, and now fall. As the seasons changed, I got to play around with a bunch of different things, and it made me really appreciate the value of the food itself, or like what new things. So like I never really ate zucchini. Like I ate a shit ton of greens and vegetables and stuff like that, but I never really got into zucchini. It wasn't until lockdown that I was able to be like, okay, well, let's try something new. Let's try a different way. And I've actually had a chance to introduce new foods to some of my friends and spouse and things like that. So it's been really, really, really cool to actually know food in a more intimate way. And that only happened during Rona. And even just like this podcast, like I only started this because I truly wanted to share my love for food and get outside of my comfort zone of just cooking it and writing about it. I wanted to actually talk to people about it and connect with you guys about it. So Rona did provide something, I guess. I guess she's here for whatever reason, and if something good can come out of it, then it's good. So hopefully you found something good too. All right, now it's time for the obsession of the week. That sounded weird. So, time for the obsession of the week. This is the point of the podcast where we talk about what I'm obsessed with. Sometimes I'll feature what you guys are obsessed with if you text me, or I'm sorry, if you send me a message. I'm not giving you hoes my number, but if you let me know what you're obsessed with, I'll talk about that, and we can just shoot the shit, or I'll just talk about what I'm obsessed with. So this week, I'm obsessed with chili. It's cold outside. It's starting to get cold. It's the perfect fucking time for fall foods. So it's only right that I start talking about some of the foods that I love and start to make them, aka chili. Chili is a unique dish. It can feed a shit ton of people, or it can feed a small amount. There's not whole lot you have to do to it to make it savory and delicious. But there are like a lot of ways you can spice it up and actually make it like a star of a meal and stuff like that. There are different types of chili. There's chili from Texas, where it's slow cooked with braised meats and it's hearty and delicious. Then you have the southern kind of more Mississippi-ish, where it's like some people put okra in it and corn and things like that. And mine is a blend of a bunch of shit. First of all, I'm starting with some good kidney beans, right? We need some broth. We need some onions, tomatoes, tomato sauce. And then, of course, my spice and seasoning. Did I say onion? I'm also putting in peppers, too. Specifically, I'm going to play on a little bit of maybe some either chopped bell peppers, or maybe some jalapenos is what I was trying to think of. Poblanos work well, too. But you definitely want some peppers in there. And then your meat, for sure, like grade A ground beef. I like an 80-20. I like it for my burgers. I like it for my chili. And it's good for a variety of different uses. But yeah, get you some grade A ground meat. If you want to take it up a notch and be fancy and elevated, use a steak or some chuck roast or beef stew or something like that. And just slow cook it. It'll definitely turn out good. But yeah, there's different varieties and ways to cook it as well. You can do a stovetop, which is easy, maybe a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, at least in my opinion, of how I cook it. Or you can do a slow cooker, which will allow those flavors to blend, and it'll become just so much more delicious over time. That way, of course, it'll probably take maybe 4 hours or 4 to 8 hours, depending on how you cook, or the heat that you use, the level of heat. But either way, you can't go wrong. And it's just so filling. I mean, you feel warm and cozy inside, right? You feel like, think about chili mac, or think about chili over rice. Like, there's ways to serve this that's going to make you feel fucking delicious. And if you are a kid, or like I was in the 90s, that meant you grew up on Chef Boyardee. You love that fucking chili in that can, or Hormel's chili with or without beans. So now we have an opportunity as adults or as adventuring foodie chefs or pro chefs. We can elevate that shit. We can make the flavors so unique and so delicious. Check out my IG. I do have some pictures of some of my chili up there, and that shit is bomb. So again, my obsession of the week is chili. Now that we've gotten our obsession out of the way, it's time for the What the Fuck featured item. All right, so I'm in my kitchen. I'm walking over to the cabinets. I'm moving over my island. You might hear it in the background. But I'm walking over to the cabinet, and I'm just going to open it up and just see. So this is the cabinet on the left side of my microwave that has, like, you know, products like canned goods, boxed goods, and things like that. So let's just randomly stick my hand in, and we're going to grab something out. Wouldn't you know it? Red kidney beans. Now, I didn't plan that. I know I was just talking about kidney beans for my chili, but I did not plan that. So we're just going to go with that. Red kidney beans is the first thing I grabbed. You heard it hit the counter. So, kidney beans. What can I say? Like I said, I mean, it's a pretty versatile item. It's filling. It's good for you, actually. It's really good for your heart. Beans in general. And then there's a lot of scientific studies that have come out recently, basically saying that people who eat maybe a cup full or a small amount of beans a day, actually it helps to extend your life. So it's not only is it good for you, but I mean, it's tasty. You can doctor it up any kind of ways. A couple different recipes you can make. Pork and beans, literally childhood classic. And I grew up, you know, lower middle class. You know, we work to make what we need and make it work and shit like that. So we can actually doctor this up in a lot of different ways. And like I said, pork and beans was one of them. You cut up some motherfucking hot dogs. You actually get this can of beans out. The beans already got flavor on them. All you gotta do is pull it in there, leave a little bit of oil, and then, you know, a little seasoning and stuff like that. But that's like a poor man's way of doing it. But you can also elevate that. You can use prime pork chops, cuts of pork chop and whatnot. Actually take a little bit of garlic, some onions, maybe some rosemary or thyme, and some salt and pepper. Season your pork chops, cook it, and then also use that same seasoning in your beans. Add the onions, add the peppers to the beans, and then you have a little bit of an elevated plate of pork and beans. Like I said, the chili itself too. Chili is a great source of like protein from beans. But it's hearty and delicious. You feel full. There's a variety of different ways to do it. One more thing that I can probably think of off the top of my head is probably just like, you know, a Spanish dish. We can use, I think they use a variety of different kind of beans. Particularly, most people use black beans, but you can actually make refried beans with the kidney beans, or you can do something along the lines of like, you know, just beans and rice. You can put it in a bean salad. I know a lot of people who do like maybe 3 to 4 bean dip. So there's a bunch of varieties you can do with kidney beans, a bunch of recipes you can do with kidney beans. So dive into it, man. Get you some kidney beans. And then the good part about it is literally there's only 110 calories in this can. There's about 20 carbs below in sugar, and then 8 grams of protein. You don't get that shit from most protein bars, bro. So you can try it out. And then I think last but not least is the cost. At any grocery store, generally, they're going to range anywhere from like 80 cents on sale to about maybe $2 to $3, depending on the brand. But you can also always get them like online at like Amazon, like they're fresh, or, you know, like go to a different grocery store or bargain market or something. Bodegas always have them too. And I think the last part I'd say about kidney beans is that they're always there. They're in every fucking bodega or corner store or grocery outlet or something like that. So it's accessible, it's cheap, it's filling, and it's very versatile that you can use in a lot of ways. So, yeah, kidney beans. Last but not least, let's talk about a recipe of the day. I talked about kidney beans a lot and how you can get into chili, a variety of different things like that. Step over to my website. It's ginroecooks.com, GINROE cooks.com. If you check out the read me section, there's a bunch of different recipes I have there. I put up recipes every week, and I also email some out in our newsletter, so make sure you sign up so you can stay tuned for alerts, not only for the podcast, but also for different recipes. Anything else that's going on in the world, in my world, rather. I'll say the most recent recipe that's on my site as of this as of this podcast is beef stew, slow cooker style. Check it out. It's savory, it's hearty, it's filling. You can throw it on in the morning, slow cook it for 8 hours. Like I mentioned before, it will, with the chili recipe, it will blend the flavor so well. The juices will render into the sauce and it'll thicken. There's a bunch of different things that are good about this. And this is a cheap and easy meal to make, man. It's literally potatoes, carrots, some celery, maybe some onion, and then whatever your meat of choice is, obviously some sort of beef. And then, like I said, you throw in a couple seasonings, maybe some cornstarch, let it thicken, and then in 8 hours, you're ready to fucking eat. So you can like literally start your day, go to work if you have to go out, or, just like maybe throw it on 4 hours, do a quick 4 hours on high, and then quickly cook it. It probably won't come out as tender, but it'll still be pretty good. And then again, like I said, you'll have a hearty, very savory meal. Serve that shit up with either some biscuits or even crackers work. That's always good. And yeah, that's a good recipe of the week. All right, that is the end of this week's episode. Thanks again, guys, for listening. I love it when you love it. And so hopefully you enjoy this episode talking about cooking in the time of Rona and then the recipes of the week in our What the Fuck featured item. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And when you come back, stay tuned for next week. Next Thursday, you'll get a brand new episode. And I'll see you then.
It's only entertainment.